All right, welcome back. This is going to be the second Deimos ship I have done, and this one is a recommendation on YouTube on one of the comments on the other Deimos on the Crab Attack. What ship would I build if I was Deimos and a customer needed to just present the end, the ship that if this showed up on the battlefield, the other side's just like, yep, that's it, we're over, we surrender. This is this ship. This is the heavy fighter for Deimos. Full banks of weapons, 8 automated, 4 regular, has everything in the kitchen sink, jump range, fuel, all of it. You can get anywhere. It's fast when you want to place your points into the engines. And the cost isn't terrible. It is a little more expensive than the other one, so you're looking about mid 300s, probably closer to 360. So not awful by any stretch, and it's all Deimos except for 5 parts, I think. I think it's 5 parts. And I never count things like engines and the grav drive and all that because Deimos doesn't make those anyway. Same with the weapons and the storage. They don't make that stuff, so it's unfair to count that as part of the Deimos. Deimos is all of the structural pieces, it's all the habs, it's the cockpit, landing gear, and making the ships appear similar to how Deimos builds them and sells them to you. And I think this turned out quite nicely. It's quite the beast. So let's take a closer look here at some stats, and then we'll go inside and take a gander. So, up to 11 crew, it is an absolute monster. Biggest shield you can get. It does not have the biggest grav drive. In fact, I saved 60,000 by getting a grav drive much lower thrust somewhere else because the 50s that has 50 thrust, they cost 82,000. So I got one that's 22,000 that's only 38 thrust, and I still have 30 light years. So good to go. You can actually go down as low as 35. 36, like the B that they sell, that has 36 will get you 29 light years, so still perfectly fine. You're gonna have some snapping issues though, because it doesn't have a front snap to it, front or back. It only has sides, top and bottom, so it's a little odd trying to fit it. Lots and lots and lots of power. What happens with this? I've already fought. I wish I had recorded it. I should have, but I didn't. You know, it is what it is. I got jumped by 3 Starborn. You know, the level 72s. When you see that kind of shimmering stuff, and you're like, what's that? Why is my screen freaking out? And then you get closer, then poof, they show up. The automated turrets melted one before it even got a chance to fire. The second one they were working on, and then killed it as the third one boosted forward to get into range, and because they don't have 3 kilometer range that I'm aware of. At least NPC-wise, maybe once we have the ship. And then I just unloaded on them when they got kind of close. I lost 9% of my shield. And I was basically just sitting still waiting for them to close the gap. Because they showed up at 5,500 meters. So, holy crap power. Big shield. The biggest reactor. The one, as I always state, that is either Vasco or Andromeda. Either one of those crew members. If you don't like crew, just do Vasco. Because Vasco isn't inside your ship bugging you. He kind of parks himself outside the ship like a droid or something does in Star Wars. And he gives you 1 free power to use on any one of these systems up here. And he also gives you a boost to your shields. So it's not as good as Omari Hassan, but it helps. And then absurd level of cargo storage. This, honestly, I think is going to become my main ship. Because it's just outstanding. And still has shielded cargo. I have the Crimson Fleet goodies. I have a multi-frequency. I will get back to the testing on stacking jammers, plus the percentages, plus how much weight can you have, the weight correlation to the size of the shielded cargo, etc. But we're not there just yet. This says value of 102. That is not right. Like I said, pretty much about 360. Mass is... It's a bit, but it's not terrible. This isn't winning any speed races by any stretch, but it's not slow. So let's go in here and just take a look what I was showing you this. You have a 38 grav jump thrust versus the normal you would think you'd put a 45 or a 50, but this thing is so cheap in comparison. Okay, cheap is relative. That number that says 27,753, that is probably what it sells for if you have no commerce skill. I got it for 22,000 and something versus the 50 is 82,000. Yeah, 82,000 because you save about 10,000 bucks. So 82,000, and I got that one for because this is the one I had on there. Did I have this one? No, I had this one. I'm sorry. So I see the price with my thing. So I had this on there at first. I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm like, now wait a minute. Could I get away with less and make it happen? So I did, and sure shit, saved a whole bunch of money. So we'll get into that once we get there. Nice look to it. I have a nice black underbelly. And it's just got nice sight lines to it. You actually don't need 6 landing gear. 1 could be taken off, but I can't find a place to put this 1 so it's centralized. And it bugs the crap out of me having 1 on one side but not on the other side. That's just OCD, I guess. So what is and what is not Deimos? Everything you see here is Deimos except these 2. Because everything I put on here... I couldn't get this little chunk to work right and actually look right, and these look appropriate to what Deimos does use, is these. And so, okay, fine, sue me a little bit that it's not 100% Deimos, and this guy right here. So this HopeTech radiator, because I needed something chunky back here to raise the profile a little bit. I'd actually like it to be a little bit higher, but Deimos didn't have anything. You know, I had stacked 2 of these on top of each other. Woo, that looks cool. Yay. You know, and then put another one of these up on top of that, and then put this thing on top of it. It's just like, no, I don't like it. So, screw it. I've got a few pieces that are not Deimos. And let me check here just to make sure. Obviously, I never count this stuff because... you can't get that at Deimos anyway. Yeah. Got the engines at Deimos, even though they don't make those. All of these are Deimos. Yeah, so obviously the cockpit. Now I went with the cheapest cockpit that they have. You only gain 60 storage plus bonuses for talents. By going up to the higher one, and it costs you like 12,000 more. Even the base one is like 29,000 with 4 foreign commerce, so it's still pricey. Also, the other ones don't actually come available until later on, but it's kind of irrelevant because this doesn't come available till much later on, like I don't know, 50s or 60s level wise. So the 40 power doesn't come available till much later. 62, I think, is what this one comes up. Same with this shield. It doesn't come available till much later. So there is going to be something weird you're going to see. We're going to back out of this. I don't actually fully power my shield on this. I don't need to fully power my shield. I fully power all the weapons. Now, I've been reading up on that, and that's another thing that I need to test. There have been tests done that say you don't actually need to fully power all of your weapons, and then tests that say, well, but if you do, it still helps on damage, but it doesn't help anymore on the reload. So you come into a battle stations. These are all going to be Deimos. Right next to that, so there's how you dock. This is where we came in right there, and this is where you dock. You got the captain's quarters with the ouchie bed. And then we're going to go straight from this section that's 2x3 through a 2x1. It's connected direct. This is their computer room.
Sound of my voice, huh?
And, I mean, obviously, pick anything you want for any of these.
Oh, what's shaking, baby?
We jump over into a 2x2. This is how I'm controlling these doors. Jump over to 2x2 engineering bay.
Good day, Captain.
Which I think works very well because this is meant to be the end. I'm calling this Ship Judgement because once this thing lands on grid, they're there to negotiate the surrender of the opposing force. They're not there to talk anymore. I mean, they are there to talk. So someone has suggested that these are the beds. That they actually open there and pull out, or they slide out from that part right there, and then the above is like storage for your bedding or clothing or whatever. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. I don't know. But, you know, we're just going to play like they are, and that works for me. This is their 2x2 living quarters.
Is there a way to go faster than the speed of light? And none of that grav tech cheating?
So it's a very nice layout, all one floor, easy peasy to get to everything, and then we go to the big cockpit. For those who haven't seen it yet, it is a monster.
News to share?
I'm afraid I don't have any news, man. We're just building ships.
I must confess, the hum of a grav drive makes me feel alive.
I would sure love it if they gave them more. Maybe it'll be a mod pack with one of the modders where they give them like 100 new comments each or something like that so they can say something different. Alright, so there's your interior tour. I'll be back in a minute. We'll have this all tore down and we will take a look at all the parts. Alright, let's take a look at this thing now. There's not a lot to it, but you'll get to see how I've done the layout pretty well here. So, you've got the Deimos landing bay. Very simple. You got the Deimos landing gear. Like I said, you only need 5 of them. So if you want to configure it differently, for example, you don't want to use this bad boy. If you took this off and stuck another of the giant ones right here, you could move one of the landing gear right to here, take the other one off, and it probably would still work just fine. And you would end up... Actually, you might end up with more storage. 312, though, man. That's a lot of weight. Anyway. And then you've got a shielded side cargo, and it's non-shielded representative, plus you've got your docker. So this is just it's called top docker, but then when you stick it on the bottom, it shows it to the side. So very simple, nothing special about it. You go to your main deck and you can see the layout. So you've got, it's almost an X, minus the fact that, you know, you don't have a 2x2 here and a 2x2 here. So it's very easy on the layout. You come up right there, you come out right there. So super, super, super easy. You got a 2x2 in the battle stations with a captain's quarters. You have their base level Eris bridge, the cheapest that they have. Cheap, I'm putting in air quotes because it isn't cheap by any stretch. You've got the Crimson Fleet doodads, which, if you get to that point in the quest line, they're free. As long as you don't finish, they're free, so you might as well stick them on all your ships. They do benefit your ship. Which one gives... This one gives 25% shield regeneration. And then EM damage is reduced by 50%. So they're actually going to damage your systems less than they would normally without it. And this guy just helps you to take over ships because your EM are more effective. And then you've got the multi, of course, which I'm still working on trying to determine. Someone just commented, if you have 4 of 4 in Deception, you can do that plus the shielded cargo, and you don't even need a jammer anymore, and you still hit the 90%. Now, that's, of course, probably with low amounts of contraband. So then we move to, I used a Deimos wing on both sides, and attach to that the bumper. I don't love that, it sticks up a little bit. It's not the same exact shape, but how else am I going to get that kind of... I would have preferred it go in further, but if you look, it almost matches this, so I think it works pretty well in there. And then I just copied that over to here, copied it into the back, and in between I put one of the wings that looks like it's a radiator, and then one of the base that isn't like a radiator. And then you have the one of 3 sets of weapons, all full weapons, so 12 total weapons. These are the Class Cs. These are just absolutely ridiculous. That's the one in the middle down here, the PAR 218, and they just shred everything. It's insane how much damage they do. Then you move back to, yes, a not available at the Deimos shipyard. However, that's not available there. That's not available there. These weapons aren't available there. It is what it is. They look nice, and if you want, this is what I did originally. I had that, which looks okay. It's not terrible. It's not as nice, but it's not terrible. So you could do that if you chose to do that. I just think this looks better along with the radiator spines. And then we're going to move back a little bit. We go into a 2x1, pick whatever 2x2, 2x1 you want. All this is to force a door here and to force doors right there. Nothing more. I have mid-engine and grav drive on this. So you do have the biggest reactor, but the lightest weight of the biggest reactors. So this one that has a 5.8 repair rate, the superior variant of this you can get at Stroud Eklund, and it's that one that has the copper like hexagon shape to it. It repairs at like 6.4 versus this 5.8 or something like that. It's a tiny bit heavier, but not very much, like 122 over 116, and it's going to cost you about 8,000 more. But if you are concerned with the repair rate, then by all means, go ahead and grab that one. I was trying to keep the cost down to as much as I could, but I was firm on certain parts that I wanted. It had to be the 40 reactor. But the grav drive, as you can see, is only a 38. The 36 will get you a 29 jump range. But the lowest after that is... is it 34? Let's see. Because the lowest below that will not work. Okay. It's not 30. 34. I tried 34, but that drops it to 27. So you're going to need a 35 or 36. The 36 is the Class B, but you're going to have some issues snapping if you put it in here, because you can only snap to this side and this side, which means you won't have this piece that sticks up, and you'll just have to find something else to put there, or drop this down one, but then you won't have a clean bottom. It's, personal choice on that. Then we come back here to a 2x2 living quarters and a 2x2 engineering bay. Again, dealer's choice on that. Pick whatever you want. I do have Deimos hulls. I have a lot of them, actually, to continue the lines, to give me something with snap points, to bulk it out, and allow the space to flow, but I didn't want rooms. Like, what's the point of putting a 1x1 here? Who cares? Oh, I got a 1x1 I can go into and just stand in a dead end. Nobody cares. So, I didn't put them there. And I've got stuff behind all of these, snap to all of these, everywhere. I don't, unless I put them on the bottom, I can't even put portholes. But it's a military vessel. You're not there for a pleasure cruise. You are there to show up and go, hey guys, look at all our weapons. You might want to, surrender. Then we've got a big boy tank. It's actually, surprisingly enough, I tried to go down to the 550, but it's heavier. It's so wild. So screw it. Stay with the 650 because it's only 60 mass. And you got another pair. So these are your 4. And then you got the engines. And these engines are amazing, and I love these engines. But one thing some don't tell you, they only have side snaps. That's the only way to put these engines on. That's what these are here for. So without these, I can't run these engines. And if you're any kind of a RPer, I mean I am too, that's the intake for them, and I'm just kind of, screw it, it can go up against the the back of the hab. Nobody will notice. So that is your main layer. And then we go to the decoration, the fluff in the house. And it's just essentially Deimos parts. You've got the cowling on the front. You have the hulls. That leads into the engine and the reactor and the grav drive. Then you got your big storage. This is what you could, if you chose, replace this with one of these, take that off, move that over, delete that, and have it a 5-way. If you wanted to do that, that'd be perfectly fine. Just know that right here, the fuel tank sticks down, so it's at the same level below as these are. I'm a weird about that. I'm all about aesthetics too. It doesn't have to be symmetrical to be I mean, this one is. But I'm all about aesthetics when I build a ship. It's got to also function, but it's got to look good while it's functioning. Then you go back to the tails. And in the middle, you just start with a spine A, go to the spine D, the spine F. This one does not have a weapon hardpoint. That's a standard hardpoint, just like this. So you can actually place things on it. That's nice because you could place other things here to get your height up if you wanted to, and make, well, I don't know, some other fantastical thing here that stands up and goes over and kind of covers the shield. You go to a hull here, and then you have the experimental shield that gets you the 1600. And then you go back to the Hope Tech radiator just to chunk it out and give it more of a vibe. The weapon systems on this level are your B turrets. The reason for that is there isn't another automated turret for the Class C in particle weapons. You could choose another type if you wanted, but not particle weapons. And since that's what I have all my skills in, I've said this before, that's why I use particle weapons, because I have all my skills in that. So, pick and choose. If you want to go all lasers, you want to go all ballistics, it's totally up to you. So we've got the PBO 100s, PB0 100s. We've got a Deimos Spine A, Deimos, and then you go into the radiators here, back to a tail. This is the same on both sides. And then we have our manual weapons. Now, some are going to say, well, why didn't you go with the Vanguard? Not the Obliterators. Vanguard has a C at the bottom. These actually do more damage. It's not much. It's just a tiny bit. I will show you the Vanguard. The Vanguard would look cooler, don't get me wrong. The Ares particles. So, literally on this, every single thing is the same here, except for this number is 34 instead of 36. So, 3630, 3439. Yes, they look cooler. I would rather have those on there, but this ship is all about maximizing the damage, and otherwise they're identical. That is the only thing that changes, is the actual damage output. And I wanted more damage output. You can see, if I put these, it'd be 145, it goes up when I put those. So, and that's just because I was hovering over it. So that is your build, and by magic we're going to snap it back. There we go. So that is your overall. Very nice, very fancy. Still, I'll admit, it's still a basic bitch build. It's still a basic shape. engines in the back, weapons all over the place in the front. I mean, oh, I put my it's a mid-engine, mid-reactor, but whatever. Still has a cockpit in the front. You know, it still has landing gear on the bottom and a bay on the bottom. But what else am I'm working on? I'm trying to train my brain to do something different, and we'll see if I can come up with something. So there's that. I am going to cut this down when I go see if I can find us a fight. Now it's going to take me a while. You'll be instantly back with me, but I'm going to go try to find that triple level 72 Starborn to fight so I can show you. Be back. Alright, we're going to get into a fight, and this is going to be major spoilers. Do not watch this if you have not done New Game Plus or approaching New Game Plus. Main storyline towards the very end of the game. Don't go to this system. Don't watch anymore. Just stop the video because this is going to be major spoilers. I have not pushed this character to New Game Plus, but this is going to be a good test of combat for this ship.
Imagine how Solomon must have felt. We're here, Cap.
I haven't come alone. We'll stop you from exploiting the artifacts. You and the hunter. Maybe, but we aren't going to surrender the way to the Unity easily.
Enemy's engines are offline.
Got their engines, boss.
Let's destroy a few ships.
Right my engines.
And there you go. 3 level 72s.
The emissary loses a few more friends.
I went from 75 to 57. I wasn't even moving. I just stood there. This ship is amazing. So, I'm going to actually revert back to a save because I don't want to push this part of the game yet. But you can see does crazy amounts of damage other than jumping into cricks if you are not friends with the Crimson Fleet. That would be a substantial battle, but I can't on this character because I'm still allied with them, so to speak. So, thanks for watching, everybody.